So just notice what happened just now as I rang the bell. So what happened actually is a miracle. And I mean that in a couple of ways. One, the obvious, that in a period of about 7 seconds, 120 people settled and brought their attention here. But more fundamentally than that, the real miracle is that when you pay attention, you can notice yourself doing that. You can notice you organizing your attention in a different way. That's the wonderful thing about being human, is we get to notice that. We get to have those noticings. So most animals can organize their attention in one way or another, but we are both blessed and cursed to be able to observe ourselves in the act of organizing our attention. So 2 minutes ago, you were in conversation with somebody, you were moving around, or you were getting coffee, or you were doing whatever you were doing, and now you're sitting here listening to me. Your attention could be out there, which could be actually a problem. It's a pretty nice view out the window. So just let your attention go out there for a minute. Just experiment. It's that extraordinary view out there. And then when you look out there, it evokes thoughts. So there's a kind of diffusion of attention that can happen when your view goes there. Then bring your attention back here and right now, to my voice, to your sitting in your chair. So that ability to observe what happens with our attention is in fact central to what we're about today, to what we're doing here, and central to our capacity to create change in our lives. We create change by putting our attention into something different, into a new behavior, a new activity, or a new goal, a new commitment. And when our attention goes in a new direction, our actions and our behaviors follow. In a way, that's what we support our clients doing when we coach. So we've begun with a miracle. I want you to be aware of the miracle. I want you to be aware of the miracle that your capacity to reorganize your own attention in particular ways represents. And that your ability to be aware and choiceful about how you organize your attention, the miracle that represents. So I'd like to introduce Kathy Robinson Walker, who's going to introduce our speaker for the day. So we don't entirely know what's going to happen here, as you might have guessed. My assumption is that, and there's some evidence for this, that this is a pretty sophisticated, sharp, self-aware, savvy group. Consider yourselves appreciated. I've been told that flattery will get you everywhere. So this isn't going to be a training program in the sense of a sort of a building block and then another building block and another building block. I'm going to throw a variety of different things at you, some ideas, some experiences, you'll have some conversations with each other, and it'll be a little bit messy because I think life is messy. And so my leap of faith here is that out of that you will find relevance and you will find meaning, and that might be different for you than for somebody else. So there's not a specific 3 skills that you're going to be coming away with at the end of the day. Different people will find different pieces that have meaning, I hope. So Kathy's version was the short version of how I came to be here. The slightly longer version is that I want to talk about lineage for a minute, about lineage. So I'm the son, grandson, nephew, cousin, and uncle of physicists. I have physicists as far as the eye can see in my family. I'm practically an inbred physicist. So there's some good things and some bad things about that. The bad thing is I spent the first 50 years of my life, half a century, as a walking head. And my body was there to carry the head around to appointments. And so half a century in, I figured out I've got a body, and that's a plus. The good news is that I was blessed with a lot of curiosity and an instinct for teasing things apart into their constituent parts. So I want to honor the physics lineage here that's in this work. Secondly, outward bound. I led groups of executives in outward bound crashing through rhododendron thickets. And it was fun. It was a lot of fun. We got to walk at the back of the line and let people make mistakes and learn from their mistakes. Isn't experiential education wonderful? And what was powerful, one of the many things that was powerful about that was the recognition that the learning is always in what's happening right now. That whatever happened, there was something rich in it. We used to say that if you were a skilled instructor, you could run an hour-bound course under a table, and I never tried it, but so that. Then the third piece was in 1997, we opened a retreat center in the mountains of North Carolina, and a Buddhist teacher began leading retreats there, and so we became Buddhists. And Buddhism seemed to explain a lot to me about how the mind worked and how my drives and attachments tended to make things happen in certain ways for better or for worse. And it built on this notion of experiential education, that however we're showing up right now is what there is to pay attention to. And James Flaherty and New Ventures West, Ken Wilber, this whole notion of integral learning and a developmental model of transcending and including who we are to become something greater was another important part of lineage. And then the last piece that I want to name, there are many others, but the last piece is the stream of somatics, in particular the work of Peter Levine and Richard Strozzi Heckler. Recovering the life of the body, bringing attention into the body, and what is there to be seen there, and seeing the ways in which our bodies store and encapsulate all the history that we are, and also, as a corollary, restrict the options that we're able to see and the actions we're able to take in our lives. So what I am, who I am, and the body of my work is a reflection of all those different lineages. All of those lineages live in me. You could stand here and speak to your lineages. Everybody in this room has a whole set of lineages, and one of the commonalities of that is the Hudson Institute lineage. But all of you have also learned from other places and other teachers. So just sense for just a moment the lineage that lives in you. All the influences and the teachers that go back in time, and the teachers of your teachers that go back in time. All of that lives in you. And our work in the world is to take all of that input and somehow synthesize it and craft it and turn it into something that's our own unique expression.